Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name's Zachary Haley. I'm starting a new podcast channel called The Traditionalists. It's really my first time running a podcast ever, so bear with me as it might be rough. This is gonna be kind of short due to circumstances. They're usually gonna be an hour to 2 hours long. It's gonna be a libertarian conservative outlook. It's conservatarian, as us in the environment like to call it. It's gonna be an outlet for people to come on and share their opinions. It's not going to be a debate. I'm going to let people come on, tell me what they want to tell me. If I disagree, that's whatever. I'm just going to sit there and listen. And I'll question them. I'll get into their beliefs more and try to get the background on why they believe that. We're looking at one guest per video. Obviously, it's my first time doing this, so we don't have a guest yet. But coming up next week, we will. It'll be Douglas Simpson. He's a good friend of mine, also a very conservative man. I have my buddy Spencer helping me out. He's going to be my tech guy. He'll be for those interviews and all that. If we need anything, he'll be there to provide it for us. The future, like I said before, we're going to have guests. It's going to be a lot of politics-based information, and every guest I have is going to be more of a politically based person. But it's not going to be the whole podcast. There's going to be a lot of background on that person for context. We're going to talk about current events. Might dabble in some sports a little bit. Just wherever the conversation really takes us. This is going to be real casual and laid back. The video itself, or the channel itself, it's not going to be just these two. If there's debates that come up, I'm kind of active in debates. We'll post that on here. It'll be separate from the podcast. They'll be labeled in the title. Like I talked about, I'll be updating you guys on my current events and my activities I'm doing, whether it's more prove me wrongs, which the last one went pretty well despite some audio mishaps. I go to a lot of protests and conferences too, so I'll be doing updates on those within my podcast and providing videos, especially of the protests. Getting into it. I just got back from the Turning Point USA Midwest Regional Conference. It was pretty good. It had the likes of Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Dave Rubin. The list goes on. There was a good 10, 12 speakers there I got to enjoy. It's a really good outlet because it's not just conservative libertarian people. Like Benny Johnson was there. I don't think he considers himself in that category. I know Dave Rubin, he personally considers himself a classic liberal. And the beauty of this event is these people get to come and not be harassed. You don't see that at liberal events. You don't see conservatives there. They don't get invited. But at these events, it's the fact that it's open ideas and everyone gets to talk that I like so much. And it's just the general spread of ideas. You learn so much more and you get to see other people's point of views. And it's celebrated. Like Dave Rubin, he's anti-death penalty. He's for abortion in a sense. And there wasn't a big outcry about it. No one really complained, even though that probably went against the views of a lot of people there, given the nature of the event. And I just don't think you see that on the other side of the aisle. I think that's just such a beautiful thing you get to see. It was pretty interesting because Antifa showed up. They were assaulting trash cans. They set toilet paper on fire. I'm not really sure why. I think it might be because Turning Point TP USA is a common usage for it. They also set a trash can on fire. Police came. There was really no physical altercation. They punched a student there in the face, but no real damage done. The Chicago police was really helpful in taking care of that. Also, with the Turning Point, I recently uploaded the Prove Me Wrong video. The audio had a lot of problems, and just with how much we had to stop and go, it was almost impossible to match audio to video due to everything happening. It started off very well. We had a guy who was an older gentleman, willing to interview. He's quiet. We told him to speak up. We had people pull the fire alarm on us. We had cops tell us to come. We weren't supposed to be there despite us having all the proper paperwork and signed up for the spot and did everything by the book. The administration tried kicking us out of the building and moving us to different parts of the building where I had less traffic. I got into it more into the video, and you can see all of those events happening. Well, I once again apologize for the audio. We're correcting the situation. We've got better equipment, and we know how to handle the situation. So for a first time go on that, I was pretty happy with it, and it'll definitely be an improvement. So sorry for all the people that have to deal with that are trying to listen to it. And current international news, Syria, that's been popping off. Trump and some allied nations, France and the UK specifically, bombed Russian-backed Assad for allegedly using chemical weapons. There's a lot of debate on whether it was Assad who did that due to past mistakes and misinformation on it. But Secretary of Defense General Mattis came out and said there was clear intel, and he personally believed that Assad used chemical weapons on his own citizens, killing more than 40 people. If you look at the pictures, they're just horrific. It's children and people and just adults just brutally murdered. They have foam and other fluids coming out. It's just disgusting. I don't know if it was Assad. I don't get to see the intel. But whoever did it was just a disgusting human being. And personally, I'm not much of an interventionalist myself. I believe that we should stay out of foreign affairs, but I think when some humanitarian rights are violated and some crimes against humanity are committed like that, it's other people's duty to step in and flex their muscles, and that's what we did with the weapons strike. I hope that's the extent of our intervention. I hope it doesn't escalate to anything else. I don't want to see more boots on the ground. I don't want to see other countries, arming up against each other. Worst case scenario, World War III, which everyone on social media is definitely freaking out about. So, yeah, best hopes for that. Also, the Mueller investigation, that's still going on. The Democrats are actually trying to pass a bill not allowing Trump to fire Mueller. And this might surprise some of you guys. I think that's an excellent thing. Not only because it's kind of like a bad place for Trump to be in. Even though I completely disagree with the Mueller investigation, I think it's unfounded and they've been just kicking a dead horse for the past year. It just makes Trump look bad. He's in between a rock and a hard place. So if the investigation keeps going, it's just going to be more and more minute things that really don't matter, but that people are going to blow out of proportion. But if he does fire him, it looks a whole lot worse. You can get obstruction of justice charges in there. You can do a whole bunch more with it. And I think Trump just needs to ride it out until they either prove that nothing was happened, which I think that's what it's eventually going to get to, and it's just a waste of $50 million in taxpayers' efforts, or that he actually did do something which none of the evidence really points towards. I think it's just a liberal talking point, and they're going to keep kicking that dead horse until something does finally come out, but we haven't heard the end of that. So this is going to be a shorter one. I really don't have a guest for my first time. I do have guests scheduled for every single one after this, up to a good date. So they're going to be usually an hour to 2 hours long, like I said. So stay tuned with that. Thanks for checking in. I know you guys are giving me a lot of support on Facebook for this, especially even the people that hate me because they like to see me fail. So, yeah, till next time.